Hello everybody, welcome back. Today this video is going to be about my deck, how to prep it, get it ready for stain, and type of stain that I'm using and why I'm using that type of stain. Welcome to being a homeowner. Stuff never ends. You definitely got to keep maintaining your home if you wanted to keep it in good condition. But anyway, I'm actually doing my deck. If you see behind me, I've already did this railing, and this side it's almost done up here. I got about half of the deck to go. Before I do any staining on any deck, you got to prep it. If you got a grill on your deck, chances are you're gonna have grease hit the deck, so you got to get all that up, or you're not gonna have a good surface for the stain to stick to. So I use a good strong degreaser. I hand scrub it. And I do that to every spot on the deck that I believe needs to be degreased. Second, I get the pressure washer and I pressure wash the entire deck. Now you got to be careful with pressure washers. You don't want anything above, I would say, 2000 psi, because if you use too much pressure, you can actually damage the wood. The only thing you're trying to do with the pressure washer is get off any stain that needs to be taken off. In other words, it's not sticking anymore, or it's peeling or whatnot. And you want to get the algae off the deck, and you want to get the dirt off the deck. You know, all the wood railings and everything like that. But don't use more than 2000 psi. I wouldn't go more than 2000 psi. The pressure washer that I'm using right here is, I think it's rated for 1700. And it does a real good job in cleaning the deck. Some people like to use a treatment on the deck before they use the stain. I don't know. I've never used any deck treatment stuff. I know they're on the market and I don't know what they're called, but there are some stuff that they recommend you put down on a deck. It's supposed to help with adhesion and all this stuff. I think it's all baloney. I don't think it really helps. In my opinion, it might even hurt a little bit, because if you don't wash that stuff off completely like you're supposed to, give it a good rinse, it might cause bad adhesion with the stain. As far as painting, when I do stain, I do it all by brush. I paint the railings with a brush. I use a 2-inch brush on the railings to get into all the nooks and crannies and whatnot. And then when I do the deck, I use a 4-inch brush to do the deck. Now what that does, or what I believe it does, is it actually pushes that stain right into the wood. You're pushing that right into the grain of the wood, right into the wood, and it's creating a better adhesion. I know a lot of people like to take shortcuts and they like to spray stain on. I think if you spray it or you use a roller, it doesn't push that stain deep into that wood like you do with a paintbrush. Yeah, it takes a little bit more time to do it by hand with a paintbrush. I think it's a better way of applying stain. I mean, everybody does what they want, but I've always had what I believe to be good results using a paintbrush. My recommendation on stain is, it's like this. If you have a deck that's 5 years or younger, I would use transparent stain. You get that grain, the look of the grain and all that stuff, and it looks really good. The wood's in good condition and all that. Anything up to 5 years to 10 years, maybe 20 if you kept up with the deck, I would go with a semi-transparent stain. That way, if you got any small imperfections in the wood, it'll kind of hide it, or also allow the grain to come out a little bit, and it still looks good. But being that this deck is over 32 years old, and it's showing its age, some of these railings got cracks in the wood and whatnot. I am actually debating in the future I might replace some of these pieces, you know what I'm saying? But this time, because of the defects in the wood and stuff, I'm going with what's called a solid stain. And it hides a lot of the imperfections. As you can see by the railing behind me, it looks really nice. This is actually a terracotta color that I ended up just picking. And I kind of like it. It's growing on me. But this time I'm actually using Behr, what's called Behr Premium. Solid color, waterproofing stain and sealer. I'm not recommending this. I'm not promoting this brand. It's just what I'm using this time. Bought a 5-gallon bucket. I want to say the price is right, but it's kind of expensive no matter how you go about it, especially nowadays with inflation. But anyway, that's another story. This is just what I happen to be using this time. I got to tell you, being up here in New England, I've used many types of stains. I've used oil-based stains, I've used water-based stains, I've used Cabot's, Olympic, I've used Behr in the past, and some other brands that I can't remember right now. And I gotta be honest with you, I've only gotten 2 to 3 years out of a stain, no matter what brand I use or what type of stain. Being up here in New England, the sun, the winter weather, the deck takes a beating out here in the open. The best I've ever gotten was 3 years out of a stain. After 3 years, all the horizontal surfaces are pretty much wiped out, like you didn't give it any stain. The vertical surfaces, like these pieces here, yeah, it'll last like 6-7 years. It's weird. So I guess the bottom line is I don't think it matters what stain you use. Although this is the first time I'm using a solid stain on this deck, so we'll see how it stands up. But I am not expecting more than 3 years, just because of where I live and the harsh winters and all that. One quick thing I wanted to say was after I pressure wash the deck, I give it 2 days to dry. I really want the moisture out of the wood. Worst thing you can do is wash the deck and then the next day start staining, because if you have moisture still in the wood, that stain's not going to adhere well. So give it 2 days, 2 good days to dry it completely out, and then start applying the stain. So the deck is complete. There is one thing I wanted to say. On these cans, you're going to see where it says 10 years on decks, 25 years on fence and siding. I'm going to tell you right now, don't believe the hype. And like I said, the most I've ever gotten out of stain is 3 years. The can says 3 days at most before you walk on it. I'll give it a week. I like to make sure that it's cured really well before we start walking on it. That's it for this episode. It's been a lot of work, but the results are really nice, as you can see. You all, God bless. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.